Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're going to be doing a vintage cube draft or a holiday cube draft, whatever you prefer. But today it's going to be a little bit different. Today I'm going to be joined by my friend Daniel.
Hello, hey, I'm a friend and coworker of Joey. I've played this game a couple times with him. Basically just kind of interactively played with him, never directly. Not very familiar with the game, but it's interesting to me, and I enjoy playing with Joey. So, ready to get started. I'm excited.
So what we're going to do today is he'll be making the picks, and I'll be building the deck afterwards. So that's the general plan. So there may be some mistakes made, but we hopefully it'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, Joey and I like to have a good time. I've done this kind of picking scenario a couple times with him before, and it's a little bit challenging, but uh, I do my best to bring all my knowledge to the table.
Alright, so here we go. So one very interesting thing about here is the power level in the cards
Okay.
are quite a bit higher.
Okay.
Right, so
What about the cost? Because I know that was kind of my downfall last time.
yeah, so as you see here, there are cards like this that cost 0,
Okay. Okay.
and what it does is it produces a mana source itself.
And what about power level?
So there's like a bunch of combos which basically allow you to win like that turn or the next turn, like, but are really unfair, and that's a lot of what this is trying to do.
Okay. Okay.
So it plays a lot of really powerful combos. So
Gotcha.
it plays cards like this, lets you search your deck for any card.
Gotcha.
Like this is a creature that for every specific land type you have, you get to tap that color mana.
Okay.
So yeah, there's just a lot of different powerful stuff that this is doing. So like these cards like this are really advantageous.
What about
mana?
What about these two?
This one, this one,
the black one and the green one. Whoa.
this one right here. No.
Yeah.
So this one's the one that lets you search your deck for any card, and this one produces mana for every green mana source.
What would you recommend between the black one and that one?
I'd say that one.
All right, go ahead.
So, because the nice thing about this card is it gives you extra mana, but even though it's of one color, in most decks it's still pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
So, here we have a Planeswalker, which is a permanent source of card advantage.
Okay.
A spell that lets you draw cards. Then you have an artifact creature, and then an artifact that makes players tap things down.
Okay.
So then it kind of has a drawback because it does it to you too.
Okay.
This land, if you fall behind on lands, it lets you search your library for them.
Okay.
So
what was the first one you showed me again?
This one right here.
Yeah, is it pretty advantageous or what?
Yeah, so it helps you to not only stop your opponent, but it can also draw you cards. And it also has an ability that can pretty much, not on its own win the game, but makes it very hard for you to lose.
Well, let's take it.
Okay. So, let's grab that one. Alright, so here's another one that ramps or increases our resources. This one does a similar thing, but again, it has a specific requirement of what it can untap to make more resources with.
Okay.
Some removal spells. A card that lets you get rid of all your opponent's creatures. Then these are, of course, lands. We have a sword that's it gets on a creature, and the creature, when it deals damage, you have other abilities with it.
Okay.
So, and then a really strong creature, a more aggressive creature.
So that first one you showed, is that good because it's the same color as what we have already as well?
So I mean, it helps to produce, it helps to increase your resources, but it's only of those specific colors.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's better. It works better to have it in the same colors.
Let's take it.
So another thing is, just because we picked this card doesn't mean we have to play it.
Okay.
Like we have these green card resources, so we could decide to look at some of the green cards and see if we want to play those.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So like in this pack, the green cards are both. These are really great. Okay. This one, when it comes into play, it lets you grab more lands. Plus, it deals a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
This one, when it comes into play, you get to make more creatures, and then when lands come into play, those creatures get stronger.
Okay.
And then here's a black-green land. So it's a land that taps for both mana. This is a removal spell that lets you kill planeswalkers. So like this one, where it can't be killed like by normal means, this ignores that unless you kill it still.
Out of those first two, what would you recommend?
These
really?
two?
Yeah.
I'd say this one's really good in a specific like type, but this one lets you enable more things.
Okay, let's do enable more things.
Okay, so we'll take that one. All right. So here's a really strong red planeswalker. It lets you draw more cards. It can kill things, and it also makes creatures that kill your opponent. That can help kill your opponent. A green creature that's gonna turn into a planeswalker. So another permanent source of permanent resource. And then also when it comes into play, it lets you grab another land from your deck and play it. A creature that does basically the same thing as this, but for 1 mana. Then this card, when it's cast, you're able to cast another card from your deck starting from the top with the cost less.
Okay, between the top one on the left and the bottom one on the left, what would you recommend?
Between these two?
Yeah.
Definitely this one. It's more powerful, and right now we don't know quite what colors we're going to be playing yet.
Okay, let's do the top one.
So, because while we could be playing green, we don't necessarily know if we're going to be that strictly green where a card like that's really helpful. Alright, so here's a really big green creature it costs a lot of mana, but it can enable you being able to kill your opponent in 1 turn if you have the right cards alongside of it.
Okay.
This is a green spell that lets you do a bunch of different things. So it's very much so very versatile, and you can gain life, you can get rid of your opponent's stuff, you can search your deck for a creature.
Okay.
And then we have a black creature that's does a lot of damage, but then has an ability where you can kind of filter the top cards of your deck.
What would you recommend between that one and that one, the green ones?
I'd probably say this one.
Yeah, let's go.
Because we don't quite know if we're going to be a deck that's good enough for that to enable that. Alright, so here we have a red, green planeswalker. So it's our two of our colors we've picked so far.
I think I'll probably just go with that.
Okay. So the perks about this one is it's a strong creature that comes in and gains you life as well. And this is a green one that lets you draw cards. So these are also helpful, but this is definitely one that's a lot more like the way I like to play, but also it can give you mana, but it also gives you creatures. So it's versatile, and
awesome.
It's not a card that usually is going to play and not have some kind of value to it.
Cool.
So
it looks good. It just looks good.
So and the cards that we have, these are our different colors we have. So
what's that one on the far right?
This one over here?
Yeah.
So they're rituals, and what it is it lets you pay. So you pay its cost, and then you add that much mana. So in other words, it costs 3 mana, but it gives you 5 specific red mana.
Okay.
So it gives you more resources at a cost.
Right. I see.
So it is good. It's not but it's something where like a card like this. Playing this and this, we can't really cast this and cast that.
Alright, so what's some other good ones?
So this one's a really good white creature, and this is a really good. So just pick
the white one, the white creature.
Well, we got her.
Oh, okay, cool.
Alright, so this is a red removal spell, which is pretty good, and it has 2 different ways. It can deal 2 damage or 4 damage.
Okay.
The 4 damage costs a little bit more, but it enables you to. It's not just going to be dead against bigger creatures.
Nice. Okay, so that's pretty versatile as well. Yeah. Would you say? Okay, good.
Plus it's mana intensive, and we have stuff that we produce more mana with.
What about the one on the far left?
This one, it lets us destroy all permanents. So, and it gives us a way to protect some of ours if we want to.
Between that and the other one on the end.
Either one, they're both good. We got the first one.
Okay.
So, all right, so here's a green creature that lets us create basically kind of like tokens, but it also then we can sacrifice it, and anything that dies that turn we get another token for it.
Okay.
So it's pretty good, and it's resilient. Allows us to rebuild after our creature being destroyed. And then here's a good red burn spell, and then just other stuff. So
just the green one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we have some more removal. The black green one lets us destroy any non-land targets and anything else with the same name, but that's not going to be relevant. The same name part's not, because there's only singles in this one. So.
What about that red one? Is that good?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do the white one on the right.
Okay. All right. So here We have a black-green land, which we don't have any black spells at the moment that we want to play. And here's a green-white creature, and we have a green-white fixing and some white creatures we might want to play.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay. So in Magus of the Moon, it turns all non-basic lands into mountains.
Okay.
Which can be a downside. Alright, so we have a red-green creature. Both these incur card advantage, and then a removal spell.
White one.
Removal that deals damage to all creatures, or a sword that we equip to a creature and has abilities.
Damage to all creatures.
Alright, so that's the last card for that pack, so we have to take it. Alright. So right into the next pack. This lets us pay. It gives us basically, for a turn, we can pay life to get a colorless resource as many times as we want. It usually is only really good for enabling combos, but if we have a lot of colorless creatures or colorless spells, we can play them pretty easily. This is a creature that's only really good if you're dealing a lot of damage to your opponent quickly. A land that taps for extra resources if you have multiples of that same colored resource.
Should we take more blue, or?
We can, but we only have one blue card right now, and we have a lot of green and white and red.
So you want to work with that,
probably. So it's advantageous to try and stick in those colors so we have the most stuff we can use.
Okay, so let's go.
But at the same time, there's nothing in red that's super powerful here.
How would you evaluate the other green ones?
So this one's pretty good because it's resilient and gains you life. This can destroy artifacts, which is narrow, but can be really good if we need it.
And you said we'll probably use that first one if we go with it.
This one?
Yeah.
Well, we can. We might not necessarily.
Between that and the one below it.
I'd probably go with the one below it.
Yeah.
Because right now we don't have anything that's really gonna. We're gonna be able to take advantage using that with.
What's that black one on the bottom left? Like
this one?
Yeah.
It's another ritual that lets you produce extra mana when you cast it.
Is that good or?
I mean, no. If we're playing black spells, it's pretty good.
But we don't have very many.
Yeah, we have no black spells so far.
Okay, so go
here
through
we
some
have
others.
We have a green-white fixing line, which again, fixing is important because it lets you play the spells in your deck more easily. A red permanent that lets us play the top card of our deck, which is really good because that means basically we're getting to draw all the cards we want.
Okay.
Its drawback is though any cards that you have in your hand while it's on the field, you can't play those.
Okay.
A green creature that creates tokens when it comes into play. A land that produces 3 resources at once, but it's all for colorless spells only, or colorless only on artifacts.
What's that, like, second to the right?
This one?
Yeah.
It's a red-green man land, so it's a red-green land that can become a creature as well.
Is that good?
Yeah. I mean, it's very strong. It's one of the stronger ones out of the options.
Between that and this?
I'd probably say the red-green one.
Alright.
So here's another red-green land, but it's not a creature land. Removal spell that's red and white. A spell that deals 2 damage to each player every turn, and players can't gain life. Again, that's only really good in a deck where you're going to be dealing damage faster than your opponents.
Let's do the red and white one.
Red and white one? Okay, so what this is, it's a removal spell that lets you deal damage and you gain that much life.
Cool.
Alright, so...
What's that? Yeah.
That one right there. So it's a white planeswalker, so it's a reoccurring card advantage. It's a pretty good one. It can make tokens, make creatures stronger, and then its ultimate ability
Let's just select this one for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also a 6/6 green creature that when it dies, it makes 2 tokens, and it has lifelink and death touch, so it's not only gaining you life, but it can kill whatever it damages. A green creature that lets you play lands from the top of your deck. And then blue creature that lets you draw cards. A red creature that deals damage to other creatures flying when it attacks.
I think I'll just stick to the one.
Alright, so here's a card that has flashback, which means you can cast it from the graveyard, so you get to cast it twice. Another mana producing artifact. A red aggressive creature, which is usually better in decks where you're trying to be aggressive and deal a lot of damage fast. This is another card that deals damage to all creatures. a land that taps for any color. Another removal spell.
Between that land that you just listed and the bottom left one,
I'd say this one's a card that's going to be much more powerful if we're trying to win the game, to where this one's a land that we'll probably play one way.
And what about the one above it? Is that any good?
This one?
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful creature. If we can cast it, it's pretty strong.
Alright, let's do that one.
That one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright. We have a powerful green-black planeswalker that destroys other planeswalkers, can destroy other creatures, can create tokens to help us win the game, and then can give us an emblem, which an emblem is a permanent effect that can't go away. And that lets us, whenever we attack our opponent, our creatures get +5/+5 and trample, which trample means even if they're blocked, they deal damage through the creature.
Shit, dude. Alright, and what about the one right next to it?
So this one's a white planeswalker that makes our opponent's stuff not be able to deal damage that turn. And then it can also become a creature, and it can give you an emblem that says as long as you control a planeswalker.
Out of those two, what would you prefer?
That one's probably better.
Yeah, alright.
Okay.
And let's do what's that one right above? Yeah,
that one, this red one. So this one's a really powerful one. So in a card like this that might be hard for us to cast, this one's last ability is you get to search your library for a creature. It comes into play. It can attack that turn, and then at the end of the turn you put it back in your hand. Nice. So it would let us search this out of our deck and just put it in attack that turn, and then it goes back to our hand.
And what about the other one with like the little
This one?
Yeah.
So it lets us make tokens, lets us bring a creature back from our graveyard, and then it destroys all non-zombies. So
let's do the first one.
Okay. Other ones that are pretty interesting are like this one, when it comes into play, lets you draw a card, and this one becomes any other creature you on the field. So
nice. Okay.
All right. So here, a red creature that gets bigger when more red spells are played. A really powerful white creature that basically what it allows you to do is all your opponent's creatures get weaker and all yours get stronger. Usually what it ends up doing is killing most of your opponent's creatures. One of the more powerful swords. A creature that costs X mana, so we can pay as much mana as we want and make it.
What would be better out of those two white ones?
The two white ones, I'd say this one for sure.
What about that white one and the blue one?
So these two?
Yeah.
Either one.
Alright,
we got the white one. Alright, so this is back to our first pack we picked from. So we have a red and black land, which again we only have one spell that has black, and a decent amount that have red. But keep in mind we may not even play this card if it's our only black card we have. Not saying we won't, but we might not. So a red creature that makes tokens and it can make our stuff harder to block.
So what about the two left ones?
These two?
The two left ones.
I'd say the land probably.
Alright,
so here's red-white fixing land, black-green land.
Let's do the fixing land.
And then there's the red one that was allowing us to play the top card of our deck. So.
Let's do the top card one. Sure.
Okay. Because that lets us basically keep playing the top card. So that allows us to essentially draw a lot of cards.
Right.
Which it's not really drawing the cards, but it's as if. So
what's that land?
The red-green land. It's a land that's gonna fixes two of our biggest colors, green and red.
Sure.
And plus, a fixing is pretty good. Alright, so here's a black spell lets us bring back a creature from the graveyard, which can also be good with this if it dies. The downside is we take damage equal to its mana cost. This lets us draw cards. This is a land that becomes a creature, and this is
first one.
The red one.
No, the very first one.
The black one.
Yeah, shit.
Okay. All right, we got it. Cool. All right, so deals damage to all creatures. Deals damage to one. The black one lets us play one of our opponent's cards.
Damage to all creatures.
Okay. Returns a creature from our graveyard, destroys the creature.
Returns.
Alright, and that's the last one of the pack, so we don't have a choice. Okay, so a powerful card that lets you search your deck for lands. A 1 resource costing blue spell lets you draw 3 cards.
Nice. Okay.
It's extremely powerful. It's one of the most powerful cards in the game. An artifact that instead of being played normally, it has suspend. So you suspend it, and then in that many turns you get to cast it. So it gives you a very powerful effect, usually for a cheaper amount of resource. A red planeswalker that's only really good with a lot of artifacts. A strong green creature. A really powerful planeswalker.
Between that one and the one on the far left, what would you
This one?
Yeah.
So this is one that's just generic mana. We can play it pretty quickly. And this one's that's blue mana, which we don't have a lot of blue spells. We only have, I think, 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, it may be harder to play.
Sure.
But they're both really powerful.
Let's do the one on the left.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the three turns. Sounds pretty good.
So we have another powerful black-green planeswalker.
What about those white ones right there?
So this one, it's a really expensive creature that gives you an ability that your opponent can't play cards of a certain color. Which, it's a really expensive cost, but if you get it into play, it's really good at not letting your opponent do stuff.
Okay.
It can just win the game outright by itself. And this is a more aggressive white creature that, if it attacks with enough creatures, you can turn it into a planeswalker.
What would you recommend out of those two?
I'd say probably the white ones, since we have ways of bringing cards back from the graveyard. Cool. But other cards to note are another red-green dual land, a blue-red.
Do we need more land?
We could use more, especially like ones that produce green and another color mana, so they help us cast our other spells we're playing.
Man, do you think that's more important right now?
I mean, this Ancestral Recall is a really powerful card, and we would really like to play it.
Yeah, okay.
So it might help to have more.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Like, take the blue-green one so we have a way to cast it.
Oh, okay.
Plus, we may not even play the cards that let us reanimate stuff, bring stuff back from the graveyard. So that white creature just may be too expensive. So, here's a card that lets us to produce more resources, but it's colorless. Another blue draw spell. Another blue-green dual land. A black enchantment that lets us keep drawing an extra card every turn. Another creature that's pretty good being really good being reanimated, and then we can pay life to draw cards.
Let's do that one.
This one? Okay. Other ones know this is a white creature that's pretty decent for trying to be a little bit more aggressive of a deck. And then,
should we be? Or
no, I mean, we got a lot of higher cost stuff, so we more care about like trying to find a way to make them cheaper or to gain more resources.
Okay.
And of course, one of the best ways of doing that is we can bring something back from the graveyard. So we're basically playing this 8 mana card for 1.
Okay, sounds good.
One thing that is important is we don't have a direct way really to put creatures in the graveyard. So that is something we are looking for.
Okay.
Okay. So out of here we have a red-green artifact so it ramps us mana. What's this one? Okay, another reanimate ability. Something lets us steal one of our opponent's creatures, lets us counter a spell, kills a creature, lets us exile opponent's creature.
Let's do that reanimate one.
This one?
Is
so
that
it lets
advantageous? Yeah.
Return the top creature card of your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's very risky because it lets you only bring back the top creature.
Fuck.
So if it's one of these guys, that's great. But if it's like this one right here, we just paid this to gain 2 life.
Fuck, okay.
So then there's a green creature that does ramp and makes any mana. Powerful green creature that makes other stuff stronger.
Cheap too?
He costs 5 mana, so he's okay for cost. I'd say this one's probably one of these two is probably the best 2 picks.
Bottom
given what we have. Yeah, given what we already have, this is probably one of the best ones. Alright. So this one right here, it lets us play as many lands as we want, but we have to pay a life for every extra land we play. Powerful white creature. Another white creature to be brought back from the graveyard.
Alright.
But we have a pretty good amount of those. We have 3 different ones that really work for that.
Alright.
Another colorless or artifact that costs 0, but we have to discard a card from our hand, basically.
Let's do that very first one. The white
this one?
No.
This one?
Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. Alrighty. Alright, so here's another blue-green land, a black creature that has an ability that costs blue and green to use. Um, a creature that lets us draw a card, extra card a turn, but we take damage equal to its converted mana cost. Creature that lets us get more mana when we play, or more resources when we play a resource.
Alright.
But it's temporary resources. And then a creature that makes more creatures. A little bit stronger of a creature that makes more creatures that can flip into a stronger creature that deals damage.
I like that one.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the downside to the Dark Confidant that wants us to draw an extra card for taking in damage, we're playing a lot of really expensive stuff, or we have a lot of really. We may not be playing it necessarily, but so that can not be very good when we reveal one of those cards and we take like 6 damage. All right, so another sword, a land that lets us go get either a basic red or a red land or a black land. Which can be pretty good since we have some pretty good black spells and some pretty good red spells. But also, because this gives a red source, this is a mountain plus a forest, so we can actually go get this.
Let's do that.
Even though it doesn't have green. So, and then this is a card that lets us take a card from our opponent's hand, and the rest are just powerful planeswalkers. So, alright, so here's another land that grabs red or white, which can be really good. Black-green creature land. Which again, we don't have very much black, and the black we do have is all really based around bringing stuff back from the graveyard, so we may not even play black. So that's a risk to take. This is a pretty decent green-white creature. Lets us fix our mana and stuff. Lets us sack a land and go grab a different land sometimes. But this definitely helps, I think, more overall with our deck. Alright, so now we're back to the pack we already picked from.
What's that, right? Oh yeah, you said we can't really use that one.
So it needs a lot of artifacts, but it does let us draw cards and discard cards, or draw cards, and it is a way to put creatures in the graveyard with his discard. This is tutor that lets us get any card from our deck, but we lose 3 life for it. This lets us sacrifice a creature on the field and get a creature back from our graveyard.
Do we need more of that getting back from the graveyard?
Not necessarily. We already have 2.
Far left.
This one. Okay. Alright, so we have that. The white reanimate creature came back. Another green-red land. Powerful black-green planeswalker.
Between the powerful black-green and the red-green land.
So we already have a lot of creatures to bring back.
Yeah.
And then this is a black-green planeswalker that is expensive, but it's definitely got the power to win the game.
Yeah.
And then the red-green land, of course, helps us to play our red and green spells. Which we have quite a few red spells. This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so here's a white creature that makes our other creatures stronger or can make tokens. Blue-green land. Another way of reanimating something from the graveyard, but it's a little more expensive. An expensive black enchantment because it costs 2 black. It lets us draw an extra card every turn, though.
Between those 2 on the left.
I'd probably go with a land.
Yeah, okay.
I think we have enough creatures and stuff that we're already playing. Alright, so white removal spell, reanimate spell, powerful green creature that makes our other green creature stronger, and then aggressive white creature.
Between the one, either of the ends.
Okay, I'd probably go with the more removal.
Okay.
Again, we have a lot of strong creatures already. Then 2 more strong creatures. Cheaper one that gains its life, or one that would probably be a reanimate target.
Let's do the no. Let's do that one.
Okay. Creates tokens, gets cheap or weaker creatures from our graveyard back.
Left one.
Alright, that's our last one. Okay, so things of note here are we have the nice thing is we can play all these dual lands if we want to. So that helps with cost for sure.
Cool.
Alright, so first thing we're going to do here is we're going to kind of find out how we want to build the deck. Because we do have quite a few different...
Sorry about that noise, man.
No, you're good. So, we have a lot of different kind of directions the deck's pulling itself in.
Okay.
So, like, first thing I want to look at is just, what's our deck look like if it's just green red and white. So, and then what cards would out of here would we not want to play?
Okay.
So.
And I'm gonna go check on those cookies.
Yeah, go ahead. Alright, so those four are very dependent on what we're doing. Probably don't need all these 4 costs. So we have a lot of pretty high costs. Alright, so I just realized we had a black creature in there still. That's okay, we can still play it. Alright, so depending on what we see, if we see that the discarding is stronger, we can always switch up and go to a more reanimate based game plan. Are they?
Yeah.
They sound very burnt. We overdid them. We're trying to bake cookies from work at home, and it may not have turned out fantastically. All right. Okay, so what it looks like is we have a decent red-green deck, so with a little bit of black. So we're just gonna go with that and see how it goes. One problem I can definitely see is again our cost issue. While we have a lot of very powerful cards in this area, we don't have. That's all we have is cards in that area for the most part. So that may not be bad. But hopefully we're not too slow to do stuff. We will find out. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and be right back for the first round. Back in just 1 second. Alright, so here we are for round number 1. So this hand has 2 lands and a ramping resource. So if we draw a 3rd land by turn 3, we can start playing our 4-drops, which is pretty powerful. So we'll keep this hand. Plus we're on the draw. So that gives us a better chance of drawing the land. Alright. Drew another 5-cost spell. That's not quite what we're looking for. Alright. So they played a Una's Prowler, and this card is notorious for being a card that enables reanimate strategies. So they may just bring back some really big creatures next turn and just kill us. Yep. Oh, yep. We're probably dead. Yep, they're going to get back a 10-10 in a minute. Oh, yeah. Super dead. I just realized I made a mistake, though. I could have responded. But yeah, we're just dead. Dead on turn 3. The way we like it. Alright, so sideboarding. Jesus. So the area I messed up was because they were using a reanimate spell that lets both players reanimate a card. Their Una's Prowler lets either player discard a card with its ability. I'm still impaired from our shenanigans earlier. So I didn't realize I could have responded with its ability and put one of our creatures in the graveyard to get it back. Now that scenario wouldn't have mattered because our creature was much, much better than ours. But that's one reason to think about some of these creatures, is if we get in that situation again, we could bring one of these back with that when they play it. But that may not be the best strategy. But what we're going to do is, I guess, just bring in this, because let's destroy all creatures. And take out that.
You can have mine if you want it.
I'm good. A little too crunchy for your tastes?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, now we know. 20 some odd minutes is too long. Alright, we're going to play again, but which probably won't matter. Alright, so we have another ramp resource, which is good. Awkward thing is we can't cast this spell yet, because we don't have a... Oh yeah, we do have a white source to go with this, don't we? No? No, we don't. That's okay. It still plays things, so... Very crispy.
Yeah, I guess 20 something minutes is probably
Alright, so we'll play our 2 resources out and pass it to them. Alright. So if they don't just reanimate something next turn and kill us, we have a pretty good hand. That sounds... Oh god, we're dead.
Wow.
Alright, well their deck worked better than ours did, and we died on turn 3 twice.
Really? What's gonna happen?
I mean, we're not completely dead right away. But we're pretty dead right away. Alright. But... No, you know, I guess we're not really super 100% dead. Because we can play this next turn and kill it.
JRDC. Fucking Big Papa Joe's in the house tonight.
This is one thing that I hate about playing online. Is I try to play pretty quick. Not to take too long. And I find a lot of people just take forever to play. Like this guy's been going on his turn for almost a whole minute now without doing anything. Fuck. Right, so that's a little annoying. They're gonna take a card from our hand. But the good news is this can kill it, and so can and if they take this, we don't really care that they take it. So we can get our card that they take back pretty quickly. But the downside is we may not have the mana to play both in the same turn, which would be bad, unfortunately, since we don't have very much time before that 7/7 creature kills us. Uh-oh. Alright. Alright, so we're taking a good amount. Alright, looks like they're grabbing another reanimate spell. Yeah, so we're pretty dead because now they're gonna bring this back from the graveyard.
Ah, shit.
And we're not gonna be able to play spells.
And how many games do you get to play? 3?
Yeah, well, so it's the first person to win 2.
Oh,
so they're about to beat us twice in a row, and we're gonna be done playing. But we'll have 2 more full matches after this.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we'll still be able to redeem ourselves. Alright. Well, we gotta have to hope that they grab the wrong thing, and the top card is not a way for them to bring this back. Because if it's not, we can still win. Or not necessarily win, but we're still in it. It's not over yet. Alright.
It's always interesting to see what cards do what, and because, like, obviously I remember picking them. So.
Yeah. Well, and one thing is, like, so what we're doing is definitely considered a fair game plan, and what they're doing is definitely considered an unfair game plan because they're, bringing in extremely large costed creatures for like 2 mana.
I see.
So
they were already strategizing that with the picks, basically.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, they have an advantage because you don't know all the cards,
yeah.
But they already know, like, ahead of time what strategies are in it.
Oh, man, so that's a big disadvantage to letting me pick, because, like, I'm sure you could do that, too.
But yeah, I mean, I would know what strategies to pick and what cards to pick specifically for a strategy, which I did try to lead you into that direction a little bit, but, I mean, it's okay. But the point was I wanted you to make the picks based on what you thought the better card was. Alright, so... We're probably going to die, but who knows? We're still alive for now.
Just prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, if you weren't here, I would have definitely conceded the game as soon as they got Griselbrand back, which was that big 7/7.
Okay.
Because he also lets them draw 7 cards each time you want to pay 7 life, so they get to draw a lot of cards.
Wow.
So it does suck for us, but that's it. Like right now, they're still doing things. We're still playing a game.
It's not over yet.
It's definitely not over yet. It could be over at any second, but it's not over yet.
Could be over at any second.
Yeah, I mean, they could literally just draw a card that brings this back from the graveyard, and we pretty much have... Well, I guess we have this to kill it, so they can't just do that.
Well, they have to pick from the same set?
Well...
Do they? Or...
Wait, what?
Do they have to pick from the same cards that we do?
Yeah, so, I was whatting at this card's ability. Why it placed their creatures on my field for a second. So he's like, alright, what they just did now, they got all these back at one shot. We're definitely dead.
Wow.
Like, we cannot play black spells. Like, I don't even know if we have a card in our deck that could save us. Alright. Alright, let's, well, you know what? Believe it or not, aren't actually completely dead.
Man, they looked pretty stacked for a minute there.
It's still not looking great because they have 4 cards in hand. We have no cards, but we also got rid of their 2 biggest creatures, and they're left with a 3/2, a 1/2, and a 1/1 that, to be fair, can get bigger pretty quickly. And our Planeswalker is going to die, so we're about to not feel very good about things for a second. But who knows? Our deck has, so far, in this game, drawn us some really good cards. So maybe our next card will be a good draw, too. Or I'm totally wrong, they're just going to reanimate another creature. Yeah, it feels bad to have this be happening to you 3 times in the same limited game. Feels real bad to have gotten it done 3 times to you. Alright, well, we're down a Planeswalker. We got all the resources in the world. We're probably going to draw another land. Oh. Because you haven't done enough stuff yet. Just just gets ready to reanimate some. Oh my god, why? All the stuff they can reanimate. That's all right. Whatever. Just all right. Yeah, just you know, a useful mana source. Just that's all. Well, so this is definitely one downside to a cube like this is really powerful things like this are things that get played too.
I see.
So
the strategies are just really powerful.
Yeah. So they can absolutely be ridiculous, and other times, you know, they can be, you know, you don't get the right cards, so they're not that good though. So it's just because they're in there doesn't mean you're going to be able to get them every time. Because also 2 people could be trying to pick up the same strategy. All right, yeah, we're just going to concede. We're at 1 here. All right, so we'll be right back for the next match in just 1 moment. All right, here we are for round number 2. We'll be on the play. All right, so this hand has a lot of lands, but and a castable spell and 2 castable spells basically. So in a deck like this, it's important to have our lands, but this is a lot of lands. So
it's like mostly lands.
Yeah, so and I'm a greedy person, but I'm gonna keep this because the last couple Q drafts I've played in, I have literally lost most of my games because I haven't drawn my lands.
Oh man.
So I have a little bit of PTSD, so I'm gonna keep a hand that's probably not very good.
Okay.
But one thing is because this oh god, why? That's what I wanted today. So this destroyed our green-red land, which is a pretty big pain because we kind of needed that land.
God damn it!
But it's okay because we just drew another red source, which makes me wish I would have played a plains first. But so we drew a red source, which means it's not that big of a deal that we lost that land. I mean, it's not great, but it's far from the end of the world. All right, so we're not doing that bad. Interesting that they're playing a black-green artifact producer with blue lands. Okay, and a guy that can go ramp them. So, because like it's kind of weird that they'd be playing black-green spells in their really blue-intensive deck, and not grabbing like a green land or a blue or a black land.
Okay.
See how they just have islands?
Yeah. A lot of them.
Yeah. All right, so we're just gonna draw every land in the deck, aren't we? Oh wait. Oh no, I'm bad at this. I should have played that. Oh, I hate being bad at this. All right, well, we're gonna just attack. So one downside about their creature, when it dies, it draws them a card. But ours, when it dies, it comes back and we gain 2 life again. It does come back a little bit weaker, and if it dies again now, it's really gone finally. But
okay.
It's still okay that it died. We don't really care too much. All right, so something to pick up here and probably play with that in mind is this is a card you only really play when you have a good amount of artifacts. Because if you can discard just 1 artifact with this card, you're effectively drawing all 3 new cards for the most part.
Okay.
And you're going to keep most of them. See, what they did there is they discarded a creature that, when it's in the graveyard, it's advantageous in a way. But yet it's not, you know, a 7/7 that just draws your deck and kills you. Alright, so that's a really good one.
Thankfully, it's not.
Yeah, so yeah, now we're starting to draw cards that aren't just lands. Oh no. Okay. They were paying mana. I thought they were going to counter our spell, and then we were going to be very sad. That's exactly what they did.
Oh, man.
That's alright. That's one downside of when you play against a deck that's a control deck, and you don't really play anything until turn 4 or 5. That's a downside.
Gotcha.
Because they get more time to draw their counter spells.
Makes sense.
See, so they're using a lot of artifacts, so I'm assuming they have some kind of creature that they want to play that's really big. And the big thing that tells me is that they are probably mostly blue and colorless. So they don't care about playing cards like these that produce mana that isn't blue. Because as far as they're concerned, that's just colorless mana anyway.
Okay.
So, also at the same time, though, they could be playing cards like this that its ability requires black mana. Alright, so this is the annoying card that forces to tap cards down. Oh, this is... Yeah, so that's a little bit annoying, but not much we can do. Yeah, this is probably not a good match for us. Their deck plan is tapping our stuff down, and it's an ability that affects both players. But as you can see, they have a lot more resources than we do, so them tapping stuff down doesn't affect them on their turn as much as it affects us.
Right, so it's an effective strategy, in other words.
Yeah, so they're another powerful thing is taking the cards in the cube that are meant for both players to be affected by it, and finding a way to make it so that you're not really affected by it.
Oh, okay.
So you see, on my turn, I tapped all this stuff down, and I could basically do nothing. But they tapped just these 3 things down, and they still have 10 mana resources,
right,
basically. Right. Like that's a pretty unfair difference.
I see. They're really powerful right now, basically.
Yeah, I mean, their strategies, like our strategies in this game has worked out pretty well. We're gonna get to play a lot of strong creatures back to back and make a pretty powerful state for our board. But we still have the disadvantage. Alright, we're just gonna cast this too while we have the mana. But we are at the disadvantage of the fact that it took us a while to get there. So we didn't just start playing things on turn 2, 3, and 4. It was until turn 4 we didn't start playing things. The nice thing is this hasn't completely shut off our strategy. We can still play stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong though. Like it's a significant setback. And it's even worse if they have another counterspell in their hand, being able to counter, what we're about to play. Which it looks like, oh, no they don't. Okay. So this card's really powerful because it gives us tokens, but it also makes all of our creatures stronger. And then it has another really unique ability that if our opponent were to steal one of our creatures, it allows us to take it back at the end of the turn. Now, normally that's an ability that it's not very useful in, but right now, it actually is, because in blue, in this cube, there's a lot of cards that let you take something of your opponent's.
Right.
Now here, obviously, they would just take that creature specifically in this situation. But had they taken this creature, if we played it first, this would give it back to us at the end of the turn.
Okay. I see. Okay. That's pretty cool.
So, and that's a lot of what to think about when you're going through the cube is also knowing. Oh wow. Okay. So
thinking like a couple turns ahead, basically.
So, and here's a card that's interesting. So, obviously their plan is to start using this to put counters on things so that the things don't get destroyed themselves. But what this does is destroy all non-land permanents. So the interesting thing here is right now it's not very good against us.
Okay.
Because we only have these 3 non-land permanents. But they have all of these over here. These are much more important than ours.
So that's the way you're making a double effect.
Yeah.
Not so.
So it's not going to affect me that much. I almost want him to destroy all his stuff.
Right.
But because it does have the ability of putting counters so that his stuff can't be destroyed, clearly what his plan is to, for now, start putting counters on stuff so that when he blows this, he doesn't lose very much stuff.
Okay.
So that's just something to keep in mind while we're playing each turn. Alright, so this is going to make us tap stuff down. Oh, just 2. I guess I should have tapped lands there instead then. Alright, so that's pretty good.
Finish that. Is that alright?
Yeah, go for it, buddy. So, the idea here is to make it so that what they did wasn't that big of a deal to us, and that we can play through it. And I mean, if they don't have anything right now, honestly, they're gonna have to pop this pretty quick. So if they don't next turn, they're just gonna be dead. Which, because of that, that's the only reason I actually advanced more things to the board. Yeah, I mean, we haven't drawn nearly as many cards as them, but we're actually not in that bad of a position right now. Alright. Okay. Alright, so they short everything on the board, which tells me they probably have nothing going on in their hand. So our follow-up to this is very good. Alright. That might have been... No, that's just not very useful. We don't really care. Wait, so that... Oh. Ooh, that's... Ooh, that might be bad for us. Might be very bad for us. Okay. Well, this is gonna be awkward. Alright, so next turn, we definitely get that Coercive Portal off the board so he doesn't keep drawing cards every turn. Alright, well, I mean, you could already cast everything in your deck, so making more mana doesn't really bother me. Okay, that Planeswalker's not good for us, though. That's a big artifact. Oh, come on! It's fine, I didn't need black anyway.
Yeah, you have 29 health. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, but, you know, we'll see how well that actually works out. Helps us out here. Alright, so another really good card. It's, no. There. And there's that. Whoa, hold on a second. Okay. Alright, that's where we're at. Oh, it's only tapped artifact. Oh, that hurts. That feels bad. I didn't realize it was just tapped artifacts.
Oh.
Alright, that was pretty bad now. That looks real bad. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We'll be fine. I hope. Ugh. Is this still the first game?
No, this is the second.
Is it? Okay, cool.
Wait. First, this is the first game.
In this game?
Yes.
Okay. This has felt like it's forever. Oh my. Okay, yeah, because you need more resources. Sure. I repeat, because you need more mana. Sure, because you need more. I've got these 8/8s. That's fun. So right now they're probably deciding whether they want to just attack everything at me or if they want to try to kill my Planeswalker. Alright, and they go with attack the Planeswalker. So this lets us get rid of their creature. Which unfortunately we don't have black mana, so we can't play this, but this would be a really good card for us to play. The nice thing is this is going to keep making us wolves, so we can keep blocking their stuff.
Right.
Yep. You do what you do, opponent. So free mana. Alright, so we're going to draw a card if we discard a card, so we will discard a card and we'll discard the card that we can't play. And then we'll play this furry gentleman, who will make another wolf and gain us some life. And then we'll play this enchantment that's going to hopefully help us win the game. Or not, because we could just be so screwed. Alright, land, we can't play the land. No, I don't want to tap that mana. Okay, so we'll pass the turn. We're not in a bad spot here. It doesn't feel great, but the fact that we're going to draw most of our cards, or we're going to play a lot of extra cards off the top of our deck, feels fantastic. Definitely going to still vote Homage. I mean, Carnage? Did I vote Carnage? I don't know what I voted. I don't like cards that make me choose things. I don't know why I said that. That's not true at all. Okay, so you can have a thing that gets back lands. Yeah, you're gonna get the stupid artifact, dude. We're probably dead. Why are you tapping mana? Please just don't do... Wait, what? Oh, they're bouncing their own thing so they can make more tokens? I'm so confused right now. You're drawing cards. Alright, opponent, you just keep doing what you do in your little opponent world. Which is like a Barbie girl world, but opponent-wise. That doesn't make sense either. Unless our opponent is a Barbie girl. Where's Barbie?
Some Somniloquist.
Okay, Somniloquist. I feel like that's probably not someone that would be Barbie.
Hey Siri. Define Somniloquist. Does this have anything? I don't have any fucking service.
I'm having a problem with the connection. Please try again in a little bit.
Do you have... Of course you'd have a way to connect to Wi-Fi. That's a stupid fucking question. Let me see if I remember ours.
Is now a bad time? Hey Siri. Define somniloquist.
Here's what I found on the web for Define Somniloquy list.
Okay.
Have a look.
Somniloquy. Let's go there. Uttering speech while asleep. So this guy is a sleep talker.
Nice. That's a great profession. Oh my god, why are they still doing things? Opponents, stop doing things, please.
I told my black friend that he should call his dick the chocolate chainsaw.
Alright, so they're down to 5 cards in their deck. Maybe there's some world where we somehow cause them to draw out their deck. Yeah, make another token. Draw the land off the top of our deck. Alright. We're in business here. We're in business.
Nice.
Wait, I need red and black mana. I don't. What? Why am I even? Oh yes. Okay. All right. We're not out of the woods yet. We're not out of the woods yet. Wait. What? No. Not saying we're not out of the woods yet. Would be saying. I hate thinking right now. All right. Let's Okay. All right. We're doing pretty good here. We got this. Boom. Okay. All right. Oh wait, what? Dang it! All right, I messed up. There was a right way and a wrong way to do all of this, and I've been doing it all the wrong way. All right, I'm gonna fight this. Whoa! Wait, why'd you tap all of them? Whoa! Oh, I gotta read what cards do. I gotta read what fucking cards do. I don't know what fucking cards do. Wow. Oh my god, that's so terrible. Oh, hey, we won. Hey! Yeah, that was probably terrible. That was terrible. I played that terribly. I can admit that because it felt terrible.
At least you won.
This is true. At least we won. I think we took like 20 minutes to win.
But we won.
But we won. That's what matters. That's what matters is we won. That's what matters. Alright, we're going to bring this in. We're going to take this out, and we're going to hope that works. Because our deck does stuff, and we're going to hope it keeps doing stuff.
Would you be willing to spare another bag of those chips?
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
Alright, sorry to keep asking for so much.
No, man, you're good. Alright, this hand's pretty good. It's got ramp, it's got spells, it's got things that we can do that are desirable. I don't know why my keyboard's so far away from me. I wish our opponent would just stop doing things. Alright, that's looking good. We got some good stuff to do. Alright, so we're both ramping. I had a dog on my foot now. Alright. I see you, opponent. I see you. Alright, let's see what you got. Alright, oh, that's annoying.
What's going on?
Alright, our opponent discarded this, but it can get it back with his ability at some point in the future.
Was that the same thing you did last time?
Yeah, sort of. He did it a little bit differently. Alright, so our opponent's not doing much, and we're about to do a lot.
Perfect.
So.
Looks like he's almost doing the same thing.
This is feeling like we're in a good place. We're about to start playing a bunch of angels. We can start playing our planeswalker soon, or at least one of them.
Put the fear of God in him.
And the nice thing is, if we ever draw our black source, we have two of our most powerful cards that we're pretty close to playing.
Okay.
In fact, if we draw that black source next, we can already play this. And if we draw the black source in one more land. Oh, and our opponent's just done playing.
Ooh, nice.
So, clearly he was trying to get some lands, but he couldn't get any lands. And just with him not being able to really play, things like this are just going to be way more... Yeah, we're going to be able to play both of these. Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Alright, so that match went pretty well. We will be back in just a moment for the final match. Try and get this thing with a 2-1. Alright, and we're back for the final round, round number 3.
We just kicked the Somniloquist's ass.
Yep, that is interesting. That's a weird word. Okay, apparently our opponent's gonna take his or her sweet time. So I'm gonna pause it for a second until our opponent comes back and we get started. Alright, we're back. Unfortunately, since we have nothing that accelerates our hand, I just don't think we can keep it. Our hand's too slow. Well, that's actually worse. Well, that accelerates. That's a spell we can play. Let's try and win this game.
Awesome, man. I'm actually excited.
Right.
It was really cool to see you win the last one. You just fucking quit.
Yeah. I mean, game 2, we actually really earned the win. But that last game against him, he just didn't draw anything, which is unfortunate. But hey, you know what? I'll take the win.
Fuck him.
Because that is definitely part of the game. All right, we might. This isn't good. Well, that's not fun. All right. Well, on the bright side, we can kill their thing. So that's good. But the really downside is they destroyed our ramp and they have their own ramp, which means they've slowed us down a lot and they sped themselves up a good amount.
Yeah.
Right. Another land for us. That's a good thing. Okay, they're just going to keep ramping. On the bright side, they have a lot of mana. They only have 2 cards in hand, so it's possible they may have nothing to do with that mana. Alright. Pretty happy about that. Ooh. I just think we need to grab a green source here. So the really cool thing about this creature is, on one hand, yes, he lets us exile one of our opponent's creatures, but he gives us an ability that at the end of our turn we get to draw a card.
Okay.
So that's a really powerful way for us to gain advantage off of a creature that not only is taking our opponent's is also taking an opponent's creature away. So again, they just didn't play anything, and they have 2 cards in hand and all this mana. So it really feels like they just have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in a pretty decent spot here.
Awesome.
And so the way you lose the Monarch is your opponent deals damage to you. So until our opponent deals damage to us, we're gonna at the end of every turn keep drawing a card.
Nice, Jesus.
So the big advantage here is that's literally been 2 of our last 2 lands we've drawn off of being the Monarch. So now we'll be able to play this next turn if we want to. And once we have no cards in our hand, a card like this is really good because it's going to let us play the cards off our top of our deck. But its drawback is we can't play the cards that are already in our hand.
Okay.
So it really does a good job of getting rid of the drawback. And this is very unfortunate because this is going to get a copy this, which he can then exile this with, and then he becomes the Monarch.
Is that what's going to happen?
Yep.
Ah, man.
It is quite unfortunate, but they're down to 2 cards still. All right, let's fight that. That'll transform our creature. We're gonna play her plus her. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have anything so we can become the Monarch again. Alright. The downside here is, though, our opponent can get back the Monarch very easily. But we're in a really good spot here. Obviously our opponent is 2, having a lot of mana. They can pretty much probably play any card in their deck. But we have some pretty strong cards to play. Plus, us having Planeswalkers is a huge advantage. Oh, except for... Oh, actually, that's not that big of a deal. We don't actually care about that. Wait, do we? I think we do. We can't deal damage to it, can we? Dang it. Oh, yeah. Alright. Yeah, alright. Kills our Garruk. But that's on the right side means that he doesn't become the Monarch again. Oh, I guess I kind of need green mana. Alright. Sack with all that. Oh, I guess that was bad.
Fuck.
Eh. It's not the end of the world. It puts him to 5. Alright. It's not the worst, I guess. It puts him to 5 life. And we can actually kill them next turn depending on what this does. So, depending on what their Kuldotha Forgemaster, which lets them search their deck for a library, does, we're actually not in a terrible spot. We could possibly kill them next turn. Alright, well, I mean, we're going to try to win the game. Yep, they're going to go get something with this. It's very unfortunate.
Looks like they're close, though.
They're dead. They did not have anything to do with that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so in that case, I'm over here worrying that they have something, but really they were only doing it to see if they didn't, and they didn't. So
okay.
That means either A, they might have drawn it in their hand and has not realized it, which happens all the time, at least to some people.
So we're doing pretty successful. It looks like you might pull out the 2-1.
Yep. So, I mean, it feels really good when we get to be able to do the things at a quicker pace than we normally would. So, and I mean, it's the playing the black cards, even though it feels like a little bit of a taxation to our resources to have so many specific black sources, but it hasn't really affected us too much. Although I really wish we could have played this because it's one of my favorite cards and one of the best cards in the entire game.
Shaders.
But I felt like what we had here, and don't get me wrong, like I prefer playing fun things like this, like the reanimate strategy.
Right.
So, but I also like playing really powerful planeswalkers that help to win the game, and we kind of went down that route. So we'll be on the draw here. Alright, well, this hand's missing a very, very crucial part, and that is called lands. Oh, boy. Alright, so this is the part where I'm going to make a greedy decision. Because we won game 1, I'm going to keep this hand because we'll have we'll have a scry and 2 draws to get a second land. And if we get the 4 lands, we're in pretty good shape here. Alright, so that's not a land on top. That's okay, because we got 2 more cards before we're going to be in trouble for not getting land. And it's not even a problem. We drew a land. The only slight problem is we can't play any white spells or our black spells because it's just red and green mana. Okay, well that's pretty annoying because that's going to get to take this and then we're probably going to lose.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that's going to slow us down a lot. The bright side is because we have this, we can kill this and get that card back. Alright, well we did draw another land, which is good. But they have a lot of time now to do whatever they want to do.
Which is not good.
No. And another thing is they just play another card that could potentially ramp them to playing something bigger. Well, on the bright side, we did draw our 4th land and a way to get our black source. Lily must really like you. Alright, so... Alright, so our opponent's gonna get to take our Garruk, which is unfortunate, because it's kind of how we wanted to... what we wanted to do next turn.
Shit.
And now they're going to take our other spell we can cast and leave us with 1 uncastable spell on the card that we are going to be worth 3 turns off of playing still.
So with nothing to do for a while.
Yeah, which is very bad because that's going to give them plenty of time to do stuff.
Shit.
Oh, and I almost just skipped through our entire turn, so you know. Yeah, so this is not looking great for our heroes. We could be very dead in a minute.
Yeah, I don't think the veterans would appreciate you talking about them that way. I'm just
Oh yeah, this is not looking good. Thankfully, it looks like they don't have anything in their hand to do right now.
Fuck. Yeah, I see.
So
turning out negatively.
Which, I mean, not the end of the world, but
you'll still have 1 more game against this guy, though.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the big thing is that's our chance to get him back.
Right.
Because I mean, we're not out of this game by any means yet. We still have. They're only attacking us for 3 a turn, and last turn they had. And it looks like they just drew more mana. So last turn they had 5 mana to play spells. So they probably just don't have anything to cast in their hand.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I could have probably blocked with this. Okay, well, whatever. Oh. Alright, so that's going to get us a creature and gain us some life. Which is good, because that means now we're going to get to hopefully start doing things. And we could play this to start playing the cards off the top of our deck. But unfortunately right now, one big thing is, one of the cards in our hand is very important. And gives us a very good chance of really fighting our way back into this.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of hard for us to play something like this, even though it might be advantageous when we're pretty close to being able to cast this. Alright, so we are now in a situation where we can no longer cast any of the spells in our hand, so if we don't draw at least a land. Doesn't have to be a white one, but a land we need. And this is kind of the awkward thing here is when you play 3 colors or more colors, sometimes you just don't draw one of your colors or enough of one of your colors.
Right.
So even though we got a lot of fixing, most of it was for red and green. So it makes playing red and green a lot easier. But our big issue here right now is we don't have enough white sources to use the hand we have.
Shit, I see. So it's really not looking good.
I mean, again, we're at 9. They're still not doing much. Oh, now it looks like they're going to do something. Alright, well, that's pretty good. That's just going to let them bring creatures back from the graveyard. That's pretty hard to fight. But, I mean, it's far from over, but it might not be too far from it.
He's even buffing himself and shit.
So, another issue is this creature deals damage for every zombie he controls. And when it brings a creature back from the graveyard, it comes back as a zombie. So, not only is he getting a creature back from the graveyard, even ours, but he's also dealing this damage for it.
Shit. That's a pretty good card.
Yeah. Okay, see, and then there's a creature that whenever he deals damage to us, he gets to draw that many cards.
Oh, man.
So we're way too far behind at this point. Yeah. If we had double white, we would have probably been in a better spot. So here against them, it definitely feels like a matchup where I think we might want more spells like this. So we're going to bring some in. And we're probably going to cut some of our more expensive cards for them. And kind of just hope that we don't die. Alright, so we're on the play now. And so this hand... See, this hand feels really awkward because we have a good card in the matchup, but we only have 1 red source. We're missing our white source, and we don't have a 4th resource for this. But if we get one, we can play this very quickly.
Okay.
So I guess we'll keep it and just hope that we draw what we need. Alright, well that's unfortunate our opponent being able to take a non-creature spell from our hand. So we can take any of these 3. It kind of sucks, but I mean right now we can't really play any of these, so it's not that big of a deal. Plus our hand is pretty powerful already, so losing one of them is not the end of the world. Alright, well that kind of sucks that we drew our white source for the one he took. But that's okay. Alright, so normally this would be used to deal damage to their creatures, but it has an ability called Cycling, which means we can pay the mana to discard it and then draw a card in its place.
Okay.
So because right now we're really looking for specific cards, we don't really want to wipe the board right now, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of it and instead draw with it. Which, while it didn't draw us a land, it drew us another creature that if we draw any land, we can play next turn. So that does help. Plus, we were finally able to get something on the board. Oh boy. All right. Well, we might just be not long for this world. Yep, this might just be bad. Although actually if we draw a black source, we're not in that bad of shape. Well, I love drawing the card we need. Alright, well. So, something here that's important is this creature, whenever it dies, at the end of the turn, it goes back to our opponent's hand. But, this is tapped. So they won't have the mana to actually play this yet. This costs 4 mana to untap it, so they can't untap it right now. So if we kill this, they're not guaranteed to be able to play it again next turn. So, because normally spending resources to kill something that they're just going to be able to play again the next turn usually isn't the best plan.
But with this particular case, it could be really good because it's the power.
Because they can't play it back yet. So it may be really effective in stopping them from having it. Because like right now it's a 5/5. So if this attacks into it, it dies. If any of these attack into it, they die. This one trades with it. But again, they just get it back. And right now these creatures are more valuable to us than a couple of her counters. Because obviously if her counters hit 0, she dies. But, okay, and we just win. So that was enough for our opponent to concede the match. So we ended up going 2-1.
Fuck yeah, man.
So again, it presented one of the problems that's very common with cube decks like this. And that is a lot of up here and not much down here.
Right, okay.
So I look at it. Here's our 3, 2, 1, and 0 cost spells.
Okay.
And then these are our 4, 5, and 6 cost spells.
Gotcha.
So look, that's,
pretty unbalanced.
18.
Yeah. Versus like
18 to 6.
Yeah,
that's
triple.
Yeah, that's a big deal. But having things like this meant we were able to start playing these on turn 2 or turn 3.
Okay.
Stuff like that, which is a huge deal.
Nice.
I mean, technically we could have even started playing some of these things with certain draws on turn 2 if we would have drawn this into one of these as well as 2 lands. And I mean that's the idea. That's why you pick cards like this.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
Alrighty.
Catalyst cards, basically.
Yep, exactly. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to catch more videos just like this one, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We have a lot of other drafts. And it's quite possible that in the future we may do this more often where Daniel joins me, he picks the cards, or we may even do some different kind of way we choose our deck. We might pick a different stipulation, like maybe we can only choose cards of a certain color, or a certain type of card, like only creatures, or only planeswalkers, or something like that. Or we might do it where we find a way to we each blind pick a card without the other person knowing what we picked, and maybe we build from that deck. We'll see. We'll probably try different things.
It was awesome seeing Joey win with my random pick.
Yep, we did very well for considering the deck was very high base picked, and you didn't really have a general strategy in mind. You were just picking what you thought was the best card.
Yeah, no, I had no strategy at all.
Yeah, so. And plus you didn't even know the archetypes in the beginning that you could aim for, or maybe even should aim for. So, alright guys, we will catch you in the next video.
See ya.